click. Get ready for your Kodak moment.
Oh, my.
Welcome to One on One,
a Bluff City Media podcast.
Tune in as we go one-on-one with players, coaches, and influencers from around the city of Memphis and across the nation. Now,
Let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Christian Fowler here with Bluff City Media, and joining me now is Memphis Tiger legend and current athletic director and head coach at Bush Academy in New Hampshire. Coach, what's up? How are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't complain, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to jump into it. We haven't gotten to talk in like 3 years, so I'm excited to hear what's been going on. We're going to get into everything. You got some exciting stuff popping off right now. New foundation just launched up. We're going to touch on everything in this episode and kind of get the inside on Antonio Anderson and also on the foundation, what you've been doing, since your basketball career, and we'll kind of hit on everything. So let's start at the top, man. Growing up Lynn, Massachusetts, what was life like? I know a lot of people know what life was like for you as a Tiger and in your career here in Memphis, but what was life growing up like for you?
Man, it was great, man. It was fun. I'm from a small inner city, 15 minutes outside of Boston, 20 minutes outside of Boston, north of Boston. Typical family, man. Parents weren't together, separated parents, but single mom raised 5 of us. And then my mom got married, I want to say, when I was about like 12, to my stepfather, man. And, just was raised normal, man. Got into sports, basketball, football, baseball as a kid, and grew to love basketball and football a lot more. Just continued to play sports and hang around my boys, man, at parties and, the typical teenager stuff, getting in trouble, breaking curfew, getting whooped by my moms and shit like that, man. So
we all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah, just the typical stuff, man. But it was a blessing being from where I'm from. A lot of my family's from here. So, being raised by my mom and then all my grandmothers and my aunts, my grandfather, my uncles, man. So my older brother. So had a lot of support, man. A lot of tough backing, man. So it was good. It was good, man. I love my hometown, man. And I rep it always.
So then like you said, you fell in love with basketball and football. It turns out you're pretty good at basketball. It worked out for you. What was it like? Like you said, you love sports. It was always sports growing up. So what was it like when you realized, okay, I got a shot to do this, not only collegiately, but professionally, obviously collegiately coming first. What was it like when you first started getting recruited and getting recruited by big time schools?
Man, it was weird because my senior year, like UMass Amherst, my older brother played there, for 4 years. So they were recruiting me. And then, had other small schools, Northeastern and Drexel. But I'm like, well, why they recruit me? I didn't think I was as good as that. And then, a buddy of mine was like, man, a guy, TJ Gasnola, wants to talk to you. He just got the Adidas contract. He's having his AAU program. He wants you to be the face of his program. I'm like, what? So I meet with TJ, man, and we became very close. He's like a mentor to me. And man, played the first tournament in Houston, Texas, man, and then boom.
Yeah,
before we got in the van, Coach Kyle, Coach Izzo, Roy Williams, and all these schools. I'm like, holy shit, man, what's going on? And then that's when I kind of realized, like, man, I can do something with this basketball stuff, man. And then I just started, the recruiting just got crazy, and I'm like, man, I want to get this shit over with. This is too much.
Yeah.
And then from there, took my visits, man, and I actually didn't even visit Memphis yet, man. And I committed to Michigan State first. Then I went up, then I decommitted, just didn't feel right. And then that's when Coach Kellogg and Coach Cal and Coach Barbie, they called me one night. Then I looked, we've been recruiting, man, just give us a chance, come take a visit. That's all we're asking you to do. Like, if you don't like it, you don't got to come. I'm like, all right, cool. So, my mom's like, all right, we'll go. Man, it felt like home. And then the crazy part is, a lot of people don't know, when I got there, as my mom first told me, like, my great-grandmother and my grandmother, they were all from West Memphis. That's like where the roots of my family were from. I'm like, what? West Memphis? I never been there, so my mom bring me over to meet a bunch of my aunts and cousins, and it just felt right, man. I got on the plane back home, and I'm like, Mom, I'm going to Memphis. So I called Coach Kyle like a couple of days later, man, and the rest was history, man.
How much did that play into it? Because that is kind of weird, right? Like Massachusetts, Memphis, not close at all, but then you get there and you realize you got family there, and does that kind of help Cal's case in getting you there with realizing, I do got some people here, I know some people here, even though I had no clue.
Oh yeah, big time, man. Knowing like I can go 20 minutes, 30 minutes away from campus and get a home cooked meal and be around my aunt too. I knew, they're always up north for holidays. And my cousins who now had a cousin who played at University of Memphis on TV, it just felt so good, man, to be able to go spend time with family. And, just outside of that, embracing the city and then a bunch of people who I now have like family members to me in Memphis. And it just worked. It was just the right fit, man. It just worked out like it was supposed to.
All right, so coming into college, everyone has expectations. Players have expectations, media, coaches, everybody has different expectations and opinions of a player. What were your expectations day one stepping on campus at Memphis?
Man, I honestly just was, had the expectation of playing. Didn't know how much I was going to play. Just knew I was going to play a little bit, and then whatever I made the most of, I made the most of. So, I just went in with the mindset of just working my ass off. And just, proving Coach Cal and the rest of the coaches that they could trust me. My teammates, the upperclassmen, Rodney, Joey, and those guys, and, earn their trust in the summer, man, with my hard work and stuff like that. And just have fun with it, man, whether it's like on campus or downtown or wherever we went or on the court, man, just stayed out of trouble, man, and just kept my head down, man, just kept working. And, when the season happened, man, it started getting the minutes, just kept going up and up for me. So it was good.
So obviously, you don't expect to step on campus and have the career that you do to an extent. I'm sure you expect to have a great career, but like what you did, becoming a legend in the city, becoming a legend at the university, those aren't things that most people think about going into their career. And it's hard to enjoy that in the moment because you're working every day, you're practicing every day, you got games, you got off season, it never stops for the 4 years that you're there. But since your career ended, what's it like looking back and realizing like not only what the team accomplished, but yourself individually, like all the records that you set at Memphis? I think you at one point, I think you still are the only player 1,500 and 500 at the university. Yeah. So like you left your mark. What's it like now that you can kind of enjoy it to look back on your collegiate career?
Man, it's dope. Honestly, it's dope, man, because as you know, most universities and most places, like, when you're not the star, you don't really get the love, or you get the love, but you don't get in Memphis. It's just different, man. I think it's just that blue collar city, that grind city that they call it, man. It's just like they love the people who do the little shit to help them win, and the things that don't get noticed. The points, wasn't always scoring 20 or whatever the case may be, but just did everything it took to win. And the Memphis fans, they love it, man, and they embraced it. So looking back, I was just so thankful that I made that choice to go there, because you look at some of these other schools, I got friends who played at other big-time schools who kind of play similar roles that I did, and, like, they don't get none of it. They're like, man, you're like a rock star there. I'm like, shit, I just played hard, man. Like, you know what I mean?
That's it.
They're like, at our school, like, if you weren't so-and-so, you don't get. But at Memphis, they treated like, yeah, we had Chris Douglas Roberts, we had Joey, we had D Rose, but like me and Joe, we got so much love because we were the backbone of that team,
Right.
So, looking back at it, man, it's just super appreciative of just the city, the fans, man, the university, just the people who call the shots for getting the Hall of Fame, whatever the case may be, that just, to see that I was the first one out of my team to go in the Hall of Fame. It's like, holy shit, me, like out of everybody.
Right.
And it's just like, it shows the appreciation that they have for people who just do the other stuff, like that don't really show up in the papers or on ESPN, and it goes a long way. It means a lot.
Yeah, I know from last time we talked, you said you and the guys still try to keep up. I think you said y'all have a group message where you guys, talk occasionally and keep up with each other. And obviously that's important, but that wasn't the next step. We're skipping processes there. After that, it was getting ready for the NBA. What were the expectations there? Like what did you think about the NBA? What were your thoughts on leaving school and going pro?
Man, I honestly felt like for the role that I played, it wasn't time for that. You know what I mean? I felt like I could have played in the NBA a lot longer if given the opportunity. But now like the defensive guys are now like everything. You know, the Dylan Brooks and the Pat Beverleys and all these guys, and like that was the role I wanted to do 13 years ago. You know what I mean? 14 years ago when I graduated in '09. So, you know, I felt like I definitely had the opportunity to do those things, but at that time it wasn't what it is now. You know what I mean? The game changes and everything, you know, it evolves. But, you know, I had so much confidence, man, because I knew I can play with the best of them. Well, whether it's a teammate or opponent. So, you know, not getting drafted hurt because, you know, like, damn, I won so much, man. Like, that doesn't get recognized, and it doesn't. But, you know, going into the D League, that was just my mission. Like, you know, these people they're gonna see like what I could do and show like I could score too. That just wasn't my role in college, you know. But you know, just literally just never really let it bother me too much. Never got too high on it. Just was able to because my teammates, man, like they were all in the league, and they're like, man, you should be here. But, you know what I mean? Like, but like it wasn't their decision to make. So I just never cried about it or pouted about it, man. I just kept it moving, honestly.
Man, you're gonna have people thinking you're old calling it the D League, Tone. I know that's what it was then, but people are gonna be like, "Oh man, it was the D League then." Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So this is when things get difficult for you, right? You come through a lot of turmoil, and this time I think you said it was when you were in camp with the 76ers, right? You kind of start having issues with your eyes. What's that like, man? Like you said, you grow up playing ball, playing sports, playing at an elite level, and then you start having some of these issues, and it's up in the air, it's in question. So, what was the thought process like, and how did you navigate those waters in that time?
Man, it was crazy because like when we played Ohio State, if people look back, I took a poke in the eye and I was on the floor. My eyes was bleeding and stuff. So after that, kind of like, you know, I kind of was getting some information, little thing here and there, nothing crazy. And then, man, like I was in camp one day. I woke up and I'm like, you know, we going through the practice and I battled through it. And then after the practice, I'm talking to the trainer and I'm like, man, my eyes are bothering me, you know? And so the team left to go to play the Wizards, I believe, the next night. Or that night, he's like, you got to stay. We'll go see a professional eye doctor in the morning. Man, I went and he's like, man, like you got some shit going on in your eyes, like.
And what was
So,
it was like your eyes couldn't focus, right? Is that what
yeah,
you
like,
said? It's just like they couldn't
yeah,
focus in practice
like,
and stuff.
yeah, they like like when I looked into the light, it was like blind me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I'm like, damn. So I was telling a friend of mine, Chris Cathy in Memphis, like, man, and he was like, hold on, like, I know somebody that probably would want to help you. He called somebody, and then they connected me with Dr. Meyer in Memphis. And Dr. Meyer called me like, look, come to Memphis. I'll take a look. So I flew to Memphis like the next day. He's like, man, you need surgery. Your cataracts, like you're young, like you need new cataracts. We got to remove your cataracts. They removed cataracts from my eyes. They removed my lenses from my eyes. And he was like, you know, you should be okay. You know, take some time off. Took some time off. Shit ain't getting no better. So I just
Yeah.
kept playing through it though because I felt like I'm tough enough to do it. So all these teams in Europe are calling me, offering me all this money, and I'm like, shit, how do I turn it down?
Yeah.
Like, so I told them my issue though. I'm like, look, I got some shit going on. Like, Dr. Meyer told him what it was. I went to Germany, and I'm playing extremely well, man. Like with the eye condition, it was crazy. So I just played with some tinted kind of like specs, like on some like type, you know what I mean, like whatever them specs were, or
Contacts,
whatever.
like contacts or like
No,
actual like rec specs, like glasses, like the
yeah, like yeah, like
goggles.
not goggles, but they were kind of like how the baseball players wearing with the shit that
Yeah.
go, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. And I got comfortable with him, but then again, like one. It's crazy. We played at a gym. I forget. I think it was like maybe Frankfurt or something like that. And it's one of them arenas where like they turn the lights off or like pregame and then like turn them back on. They did it like 5 or 6 times, and my eyes were just triggering like crazy.
Yeah.
I go to the trainer. I'm like, yo, I can't play. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, yo, and they just kept turning the lights on and off, on and off. My eyes just started glitching. after that, it was a wrap, man. Like I couldn't even bounce back. So
Right.
like you know what I mean? Like they let me go home, get out of my contract, and that's when I had to go back to members to get more surgeries. I had like probably like 6 or 7 eye surgeries.
And
I just
and your ears in between this, right? You were still in
yeah
the league when the firework incident happened, correct?
yeah man. So
Yeah. So
they
like
literally
for people that like haven't heard that story or don't know that story, what exactly happened? What led to the busted eardrum?
so I'm literally at like a 4th of July basketball holiday event back home, just watching, kicking it, and kids just lighting off fireworks all over the place, in the park, and we're sitting. I'm just sitting on the bench where my boys are playing, and these kids, they didn't do it towards me purposely, but they like let off like M80, like, and it was probably like 40 feet from our bench. And when it erupted, I literally flinched. I didn't think nothing of it. And the next morning, I had to go. I was on a flight to Vegas for summer league. So I'm on the plane.
What year was this of your professional career? Like how many years had you been in?
My 3rd year.
Your 3rd year, okay.
Going into my 3rd year, man, that summer, I'm like, I had a good, good shot. A lot of teams showed a lot of interest. So I was going down to play summer league, and literally, I'm on the flight to Vegas, and like I had the Beats by Dre on, and I'm like, why the hell can't I hear my music? Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking my batteries are dying, so I'm changing my batteries on the earphones, headphones. Couldn't hear nothing. So I get off the plane, and one of my boys were in the hotel, and he's talking to me. He's like, "Yo, you can't hear what I'm saying?" And I'm like, "Nah, you talking?" He's like,
That's wild.
"Yeah." He's like, "Yeah." But then when he got closer and was yelling, I could hear it. So I'm like, so then he's like, "Man, something's wrong. Like, you can't hear it, bro." I'm like, so I called my mom, and I couldn't hear it. And then I text her, she's like, "Why can't you hear me? What's wrong?" I'm like, "I don't know. Something must be wrong with my phone." So the next day, I called my agent, and I texted him. I'm like, "Man, we gotta meet." So we met. He's actually the GM of the Utah Jazz now. And we met, and I'm like, "Yo, something's wrong with my ears." He's like, "What the fuck? You got all these teams gonna come watch you work out tomorrow?" Like, I'm like, I can't hear it. I can't. My eyes are already bad. They're already questioning that. Like, now I can't hear it. So he's like, "All right, go home and see what's going on." I fly back to Boston, go to the doctors, they do some tests. They're like, "Your eardrum's ruptured." I'm like, "What? How?" So I told them they told me, like, if I had known, like, if I never flew to Vegas, I would have felt it. They said I would have probably felt it within like a day or two. But they said, but since I didn't know and I flew, the elevation made it worse, ruptured it. So I'm like, shit, what's next? I can't hear. Man, they talked to me about the cochlear implant. I'm like, I don't know what this shit was, man. I was just like, didn't like, so I honestly skipped out on appointments for like 6 months. I was just so devastated and crushed. We went to my apartment, man, and like shut out the world, man. Like, didn't like answer the phone, talk to nobody for probably like 5, 6 months. Just fucking crying and just like, what the fuck? Why me, man? Like, I worked my ass off for this. And then I said, fuck it, man. I went and got excuse my language. I went and got the surgery. Man, I went and got the surgery, and now I've been able to hear since. Just can't play. You know what I mean? So
Right. Because of the chip, right?
yeah, because of the chip. So like, if I was to play and it somehow broke, I have to redo the whole surgery. But I'll be out there playing with no volume. So guys in basketball, man, they're not. Yeah, they do hand gestures for plays, but like, you got to be able to hear. They're talking screens,
Right.
they're talking this. So I just got to face reality and shut it down. It was heartbreaking, man. Like, for me, just not being able to play after I gave him off for so long, and it took me about a year and a half to like want to be around people.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, you hear players talk about all the time, like when they transition out of the league, like they're depressed, they don't know what to do, they have no idea what's going on. How much different do you feel like it was for you? Because it wasn't your decision. It wasn't like, okay, I've played my career throughout. I feel good about what I did. Like, I know I busted it regardless of how it turned out. But for you, it was taken away from you. It was taken away from you, things out of your control. How do you think that helped you deal with adversity moving forward? Because like you said, you shut it out. Like you were done, locked up. I'm sure you were just didn't want to be around anybody. So how did you come out of that season? Because that's difficult for anyone, much less, a professional athlete that just gets everything ripped away from them.
Yeah, man. It was like, luckily my family, man, my brothers, my mom, man, my grandfather, just literally, man, my boys, one of my really close friends, Ramon, Chance McGrady, who played with me at Memphis. Those Jews, man, just literally just texting me every day, just like, man, you got nothing to be ashamed of, man. Like, man, it's not your fault. You know what I'm saying? So it was just hard for me because, like you said, like, this wasn't my choice. Like, why? I kept saying, like, why me? What I do to, like, lose my hearing and, like, my vision, like, be a blur. You know what I mean? Where I'm not able to play. Like, I could do everything else besides play basketball. I could drive. I could, you know what I mean? Like, it was just hard for me.
The one thing you wouldn't want taken away.
Right.
Outside of your family, like the one thing outside of your family would be the game.
Right, man. So I just kind of that whole time just had to kind of sit back, like, what's next? Like what's next for me, man? And my friend of mine, I was a head coach at a Division III school, and he's like, hey, come talk to my kids at practice. So before I'm at the practice, I'm helping some of the kids, this, that, and the third. Then the next day, he's like, you want to come help me? All right, cool. And then he's like, man, like, I want to pay you to be my assistant coach. I'm like, what? I don't need no money. I love basketball. This is my chance to kind of like be around it again. So was able, it was crazy because that team was bad, right? We probably were like, I joined middle of the season, man. We probably finished 3-32.
You didn't care at all, though, did you?
I didn't care, man. I didn't care one bit, man. Like, I had a blast. And that's when I fell in love with coaching, man. And I'm like, so everyone heard I was coaching. All these local colleges and Division II schools and III schools are like, man, come be an assistant, blah, blah. So I said, fuck it, why not, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what kind of brought me back outside a little bit. Like, okay, like, I'm still involved in basketball. I can share my passion. I can share what I know and like how I was taught, and like now how I can teach younger kids, especially being from Massachusetts, man. So that's what kind of got me back out of my shell and in a comfort zone to walk around with equipment on my head. Like, people are like, what the hell is that, a Bluetooth? And I'm like, no, it's a hearing aid. Like, without it, I can't hear you. So, you know what I mean? But I'm so motivated by helping others, man. And like, because now it's good to see kids make it and get a degree and experience college, whether it's Division I or whatever it is. So, man, that's what kind of helped me break out of the slump I was in mentally, because I was down. I was down, man. It was tough as hell, but you don't want to, you know what I mean? Those days are dark, for sure.
Right. So walking through your coaching career a little bit, went back home, obviously, to Lynn, coached there. What, you were 2016, you started at Lynn, right?
Yeah, man.
So you were there for 4 or 5
4
years?
years.
4 years? 4 years,
So,
recently transitioned. 2021, you took over at Springfield Commonwealth, and then now you're at Bush. So 1 year at Springfield, now at Bush Academy, at Lynn. I think you 2019 Coach of the Year in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. So you've had success. Obviously, you've started climbing your way up the ladder. What has the journey in coaching been like? We talked about the journey with playing. What's the coaching journey been like?
It's honestly, man, as crazy as this may sound, it's been better than when I played. And I tell people, they're like, you're crazy, you played in the Final Four. But I'm like, man, I'm just impacting these kids' lives, man, in a different way. And I got the head coaching job in Lynn English. They were 10-10 the year before. So we get the job, man. Got these freshmen coming in that were really good in our hometown. I get the job, they come over. Some older kids who never had no structure. So I implement study hall. I implement, you get a D, you can't play, right? Your GPA got to be a certain, like some Coach Carter type.
Yeah.
Right?
Being hard, being real.
Yeah, it was real with them, man. And like some of the parents didn't like it. A lot of the people didn't like it. So the kids bought in. The year when we go 17-5. Man, I'm like, okay. We lose in the second round of the state tournament. I'm like, okay, we'll be back. The same guys come back next year. We lose the seniors. and they already knew the system that was in place. We go 26-2, win a state championship, right? And Division I was the biggest division in the state.
Right.
We win it, right? We were the number one team in the state. Come back the next year, win it again. Come back the following year during COVID. We would have won it 3 years in a row, but during COVID, they had a shortened season. We go 15-0. So in that 4 years, we go 75-9, right? And I'm like, shit. Okay, all these kids that come back. I got kids now that I coach are playing Division I and Division II basketball from public school in Lynn, which is rare.
Right.
And it only not because of me, but just because of the fact that I was able to get them to understand the academic part of things when they walked in the door, and to understand the importance of the weight room and working hard, being in shape, and what coaches look for, talking on defense. And man, the Springfield Commonwealth thing opened up because the prep schools are hard to get, and
coaches stay at the prep schools forever. They don't leave the prep schools.
They don't leave, man. And they reached out to me, and I was shocked. So I met with them a couple of times, and I'm like, I don't think I can leave home, And then it's like, you know what? This can be another way for me to help impact kids from my hometown who can't afford these expensive boarding schools. So I took the job in Springfield. We did well last year, man. We had, a kid who was top 30 in the country, now at NC State, and a bunch of other kids all over the place in Division I junior colleges, man. And my owner at the school came to me January. He's like, Antonio, I'm taking over another school. I want you to come look at it. So it's a little nicer than Springfield, like a lot. It's closer to your hometown. It's an hour from your hometown instead of 2.5 hours. In New Hampshire, come look at it. I'm like, all right. I get up there. The campus is gorgeous, man. I'm like, holy crap. They never had a basketball program, though. So that was the hard part. And I'm like, all right. I'll think about it. And I just said to myself, that I met with him and the higher ups in administration. The only way I could do this is if I get into the same conference that Springfield is in. They said, we'll pay whatever fees we need to pay for you to get in. So I reached out to all the coaches in the league. We had a private meeting. I said, look, this is going to stay between us. But if I do this, can I get into the league? They said, of course. They put it in writing. We signed a contract, man. And when the season was over, I moved over to Bush. And this year we did pretty well, man. We finished like number 20 in New England out of hundreds of prep schools up here in our first year. Like I had two teams. My top team that I coached finished 20 in New England. My second team finished like 70 in New England. So I was able to put together some teams so fast, which is hard to do. And now just trying to just keep building on it, man. And the coaching part of it is everyone's like, why aren't you in college? I seen Cody Topper this year at an event. He watched us play. He's like, when you come into college, like high school is too easy for you. I'm like, man, it depends on the opportunity.
Is that I think a lot of people have wondered about that. Is that something that you want to do, or do you love like the high school game too much? Because there's a lot of coaches that just stay in that field because you get kids so young and are able to help them. Is that what you want to do, or is there an opportunity that could get you to college? Is that a dream for you to be a college coach one day?
Man, I want to be a college head coach one day. That's my ultimate dream.
Yeah.
And I think, opportunities have came to me, but it just wasn't the right situation. I have children. So for me to leave and take a job, I got to be able to feed my family. And, the opportunities that were presented to me were, I was, come be a GA. I'm like, I got a master's already. I don't need a master's degree. Or come be a volunteer. Like, I'm not going to come be a volunteer.
Not doing that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So I'm not asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but just got to be similar to what I'm making now.
It's got to make sense. It's got to make sense.
A lot of sense, but definitely would love to, man. If the right opportunity presented itself, I'd take a college job tomorrow. I got the call, and it was a situation that fit.
All right, so we've kind of briefly hit on everything, but something really cool that you're doing right now. You just started your foundation, the Antonio Anderson Foundation. I think we probably know a little bit of the answer because we've talked about it, but what really brought this up? What inspired you to want to take action on this and start your own foundation, which, by the way, is in Lynn and Memphis, right? So
Yeah.
it's both of those locations, kind of the two places that have shaped you as a player and a person.
Oh man, honestly, just when I got into coaching, man, like, seeing Lynn, seeing Memphis, the rough side of the cities, the great side of the cities, and just seeing when I got into coaching, seeing so many kids when we would have time, where it would be times where you got to buy sweatsuits and sneakers or backpacks for the team, and 20 from freshman, JV, and varsity, and 15 out of 40 kids can't afford it.
Right.
And you're doing it out of your pocket because that's you don't want nobody to go without. And you see things on social media, Facebook, families asking for help, pay for their daughter to do cheerleading or gymnastics or soccer. And I see it in Memphis, and I see it, and I'm like, man. So I've been saying to myself, like, the last couple of years, like, I filed my paperwork for my nonprofit a year ago. I just now have the time to start getting everything in order. I didn't want to just be like, oh, here I go, and then like fade away.
Right.
So just wanted to be able to help these families, because there's a kid out there who probably could be the next LeBron James, the next Antonio Anderson, the next Chris Douglas Roberts, the next D'Angelo Williams, but their mother don't have money for cleats, and their mother don't have this to be able to sign them up for youth sports. And a lot of programs nowadays are all about grabbing money, and they're not really, some they'll help a kid or two, but there's so many families that are left out because financially everything's expensive now, cost of living, this, that, and the third. And man, it's unfortunate that they're in those situations. And I just want to be able to bridge that gap in the two cities that help mold me. Want to give kids opportunities to be able to play sports, and try to get together with some organizations in the universities and to be able to make that happen.
Yeah. So what kind of work are you're talking about, specifically helping kids and stuff. What kind of work is in the works? What kind of work are you planning on doing? You kind of briefly just hinted at there, working with schools and universities. So tell us a little bit more about that and kind of what the plan is.
The plan, man, is to connect with the youth service directors in these inner cities, who already work with a lot of after school programs, a lot of them that charge, and try to find ways in which I can provide funding for certain families, certain amount of families a year, but also have a requirement of kids. You got to have, whether they, good at school attendance, good behavior, good grades, and just want to be able to make it a criteria that I'm just not giving away to just anybody. You gotta do your part too. So in the works is, just would love to partner with University of Memphis and to just help these kids get into all these athletic camps that they have going on. I have a call with some people from Shelby County Schools this week who heard about what I'm doing and want to talk to me about what they do after school program wise and how we can figure some out, work together, whether it's summer enrichment programs, whatever the case may be. So all of these things are what I'm trying to do, is just bring a light to young inner city kids who may not have much or underprivileged, that yes, I'm here to help you, but you got to do your part academically. Like, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do in school, no matter how much money you have or don't have, I can't help you. Because, if you, and same with the parents as well. It's like, look, I'm here to lend a hand, and I'm not giving you money personally. I'm helping you put your children in activities. I want your kids to be able to have access to libraries and a library card or access to computer labs, learning how to read if they struggle reading, or tutors. And man, that's just my ultimate. That's everything I'm shooting for.
So do you guys have any events coming up soon? Like, do you have anything planned coming up soon, or is it all? I know you just launched, like the soft launch, pretty much like what, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago.
Yep.
But do y'all have anything in the works as far as plans coming up, events coming up?
Right now, I'm working on a fundraiser here in Lynn, coming up in April. I'll have the date I can shoot it to you, man. I'll have the date within like the next day or two. And then I'm going to be working on one in Memphis as well. I have my EIN number, but to solicit it in Tennessee, I had to put in some paperwork. So just waiting for that to come back and clear, which should be in a couple of weeks or so. Planning to get into Memphis around May, June, and having a fundraiser there, and like probably get out there for like a week or so and start partnering with people and meeting with some people. A lot of people reached out, man. It's been really good. Because a lot of people who do foundations, it's just sports or just academics. So I'm just trying to put both together so kids understand at a young age, hey, this is what it's going to take for you to be successful. No matter how good you are, you got to do the other part too. So the functions that are coming about, man, in the works, trying to find good locations. A lot of people offer their restaurants and bars and things like that. So just want to make sure it's right timing for everybody, and just a time where people can come and hear from me personally what I'm trying to do, show them where the funds will be going to, who I'm partnering with, why it's going to cost this, why it will cost that. So I'm looking forward to it.
So where can people find more? I know you guys have social media website. How can people find out more and learn how to get involved or just learn how to support you and what you're doing in general?
Man, you go to AntonioAndersonFoundation.org. My website's in the works, should be done within the next few days or so. We're posting a ton of information. There'll be a donation page with everything that we got going on. It'll be newsletters. We got, everything that you can offer, we're gonna offer, man. Like we're gonna try to have kids in Tiger games, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, softball, volleyball, whatever your kids invested in, we want kids to be able to go watch. We want same thing in my hometown. Want to try to have something which I'll be able to one day have a group from Tennessee come stay in a hotel in Massachusetts and kind of come to my Lynn program and bring my Lynn kids to Memphis so they can be in my Memphis program for a week so that they all get to see how I was brought up, how I was raised, why I love Memphis so much, why I love Lynn so much. And, I think once everyone sees that, man, it's going to be special.
Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll have all of the foundation links and all of Antonio's links in the comments. So go check that out. Go check out what Antonio is doing. We know he's going to do an incredible job, but that's all we got for you tonight. Antonio, I appreciate you, man. I love your heart. I love your story. I love what you're doing. I know people in both the city of Memphis and Lynn love and respect you and, appreciate and respect what you're doing. So big ups to you, Tone. It's amazing. Appreciate it. And we'll holler at you later, man.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you for having me. It means a lot.
Thank you for listening to One on One. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a like and a comment wherever you download your podcasts. Head over to www.bluffcitynil.com, where you will find comprehensive coverage of Tiger athletics and how you can become a contributor. We will see you back here next time.